Good morning, everybody. It is time for Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, the dad bod god himself, the bald, the beard, and the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I have a very, very special guest, Mr. Kenny StarMaker Bolin. But I've also got a special co-host joining me tonight as well, Mr. Cade Lothbrock. You know him from Nights of the Gimmick Table. He's been on Killing the Business. He's been on nearly every show on the MWA Podcast Network, but I'm really looking forward to having this conversation with Kenny Bolin and Cade Lothbrock. But before we get into the show, let's take a quick second, a quick pause for that cause and thank some of those amazing sponsors and help us keep the lights on up in this bitch. First up is healthvape.com. Now listen, HealthVape is your healthy vaping alternative. If you know someone who's one of those filthy cigarette smokers, one of those filthy vapors, you need to get them over to HealthVape. All of their products are no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals. They help restore the energy while giving you the vital boost that you need. So guys, please go and check out all of their amazing products. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, sleefs.com. Now, these guys have all your athletic wear covered. They've got armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, compression tights, socks, headbands, boots, mouth guards, and they've even got these amazing dirty boxes. You've heard me raving about these dudes. Like, seriously, dirty boxes are the best thing going. They sent me boxes that are the boxes. These are the only boxes that I own. And I'm an active guy. I do podcasting. I work full time. I go to the gym. I got 3 kids. I'm a husband. So I'm active. I'm on the go all the time. And these dirty boxes stay dry. They stay fresh. And they've got some funky designs on the front. So, guys, make sure you check out sleeves.com. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount, baby. Woo, I'm excited. It's 2 a.m. here, and I'm pumped. I am motherfucking pumped because I'm going to be getting into an awesome conversation with Mr. Kenny Bolin and my boy, Cade Lothbrock. So let's get that shit started right now. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up, buddy?
What time is it?
It's 2 a.m. over here, Mr. Bolin.
That's way too damn much energy down in Australia at 2 o'clock in the morning. What the
I was
hell?
gonna say, man, you are hyped for 2 a.m.
My God, did he smoke all 5 of those vape things I saw there just a minute ago? Is
Probably.
he just amped up on all 5 of those things?
He's
I thought they were supposed to relax you a little bit. I don't know about those. Good Lord. Wow.
They're absolutely amazing. Definitely worth checking them out. Mr. Bolin, thank you for joining me. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. I've been excited about all this all week.
I rarely do Saturday 12 noon appearances or even on my own show, so here we are, and we're good to go. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely, dude. So starting off, I was actually looking in, which I found interesting, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're wrestling.
Trust me, I will.
Please, I appreciate the honesty. But you actually, what I read was you started out at IWA Mid-South down at Ian Rotten's.
Wrong.
Promotion.
That's wrong.
Okay.
No, I started out in Kentucky for the first time, but no, I was hired by Nick Goulas in Nashville, Tennessee. So my very first ever wrestling show, I got hired in Nashville, did my first studio interview in Nashville. My first live show was in Birmingham, Alabama in November of 1987. And then in, the mid-90s, Dennis Corluzza asked me to kind of manage shows that he couldn't be at. And then that led to me being at shows that he was at. But Dennis Corluzza is an old NWA promoter. I didn't particularly want to work for Ian's promotion. I was not about or did not really like what they did. But Dennis Corluzza was a dear friend, and he was also one of the legit god uncles, and that was a title self-imposed. He named himself the god uncle to my son Chris, and bought him a bunch of stuff when he was born and things like that. I did a wrestling convention with Dennis and Jerry Lawler in 1987 when Chris was born, and got to be very dear friends with him. So in the mid 90s, he reached out to me, wanted to know if I would work those shows with him and kind of be his lead liaison whenever he wasn't there, which led me to managing Salvador Sincere, managing against Dutch Mantel, managing against Wolfie D, PG-13, guys like that. I got to work with, you got Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy. So I worked with Terry Gordy there. Ian had a money mark that would spend a ton of money. And we would spend, our budget would be tenfold whatever the profit could ever possibly be. But he was such a marked, they called him a jock sniffer. So he would hire all these big stars to come in and work on these shows. I had a mandatory $75 minimal fee to work these shows when everyone else was working for $10. And I was, well, if I get $75 a show, what the hell, it's a little gas money or something. So I didn't care to be there much. And then Danny Davis recruited me from there at a Eddie Gilbert Memorial show. And I met Danny Davis, and he says, "What do I got to do to get you out of here?" I said, "Probably not much." So we worked out a deal, and then I went to OVW, and that's where I stayed for 17, 18 years and retired from there in 2012. Told you I'd correct you if you was wrong.
I appreciate the honesty. But one of the things I found interesting was that you actually are a childhood friend of Jim Cornette. You guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was till about 5 years ago.
But like,
oh, you guys aren't close anymore.
You guys don't know shit about me, do you? No, Jimmy and I have not spoken about 5 years, and that's been very public. You had one of the reasons why Jimmy and I don't speak on your show, Vince Russo and I. I had a falling out with Jimmy's shitbag of a co-host, and I won't even mention his name, but I only did 2 shows with him when he wanted me to bring the bowling alley to his so-called network. So I did 2 shows with him, and then my kids ratted him out on a bunch of lies that they knew he had told. He was lying about where he lived, lying about his credentials, lying about jobs he had, lying about being executives with certain companies, lying about his home, just lie after lie. Well, my son and daughter-in-law work for an attorney's office, and they dug up a lot of shit on him. So when they did the show, and he started trying to big dog on the show, acting like he was fucking somebody and that it was his show, not mine, they called him out and buried him on the shit. So he called Cornette, bitching that the Bolin kids can't be on the show anymore. I said, "Well, what's the name of the show, Jimmy?" "It's called the Bolin Alley. It's not the Cornette Alley. It's not the Last Alley. It's none of those. It's the Bolin Alley. They're Bolins. I'm a Bolin. It's my fucking show. He'll do what the fuck. They'll do what the fuck I want." So fuck him. He said, "Well, he says he don't want them on no more," and I agree with him. I said, "Well, fuck both of you." I said, "So I'm fine. We've done 2 shows." Well, he says that the kids are killing the ratings. I said, "What fucking ratings? I've done 2 shows. I am bringing another avenue, another source for people to be able to watch. There are no fucking ratings, and anything we are getting is in addition to what you were getting, because Russo's network tried the same thing with me. They were bitching to Russo because I was the only non-Republican supporter on the entire network. And I'd go on there and I'd badmouth Trump, badmouth Republicans in general, just basically telling the truth, which is the last fucking thing they ever want to hear. And so they all wanted to get rid of me on the Russo network. This is after I'd left Cornette's network. And then Russo contacted them after 30 days and said, "Guys, you're idiots." They said, "Our ratings have gone up 27%. I'll never forget the quote. "The ratings have gone up 27% since we got Bolin on the show. He ain't hurting no ratings. He's boosted them by 27%. He's the only thing different in those last 30 days. We got all these fucking shows. None of them are getting any numbers other than mine, meaning Russo. Everyone else was just fucking dead weight. And when I came on, mine and Russo's numbers went through the roof. So getting rid of me was out of the question. But eventually I got tired of dealing with some of these shit bags. And I just told Russo it's just best I move on. I said, it's good controversy. It's good for that. But your guys take this shit real seriously. They don't handle criticism well. And I can out-talk any of these motherfuckers. So you just deal with these people. And I don't think I'm meant to have co-hosts. So eventually I did give some other people a try. I've gotten rid of every single co-host I've ever had. They all take it real bad. They all become trollers. I'm sure we'll probably see some of them in here tonight before it's over with. Yes, Mr. Cocktail, StarMaker Bolin on a Saturday at 12 noon. Thank these Aussies for that and this New Yorker that I thought was when I saw his name. Yeah, that's but no, Jimmy and I have not spoken 5 years. There's more to the story, but I've told it 100 times on other shows.
That's wild. And but first, when you started to get in back, as you were saying earlier, as you corrected me, was Jimmy sort of helped segue getting you into the business, or was it something like you guys both got into it by yourself?
Well, he was supposed to help me get into the business when Jerry Jarrett hired him, but I later learned Jimmy never even really mentioned my name to Jerry Jarrett about me having any interest in getting into the business. Bill Dundee told me the same thing. Jerry Lawler told me the same thing. We had no idea you ever wanted to be in the business or that you had any skills to bring because we didn't know anything about you. And Jimmy didn't like competition too well. Jimmy was always very competitive with Jimmy Hart, and he was jealous of Jimmy Hart's relationship with Jerry Lawler because Jerry Lawler, and then this is Cornette's version of it, Jerry Lawler and Jimmy Hart always got the A shows. Bill Dundee and Jim Cornette always got the B shows. And needless to say, the B towns were not as good as the A towns. And then eventually they got sent down, I think, to Atlanta for a little while to where Cornette and Dundee went down there. And Dundee was mainly the booker, I think. And then I know Dundee and Cornette were in Louisiana for a while. And I did a podcast with Bill Dundee about a year or two ago. And plus I had him on my show maybe a year ago. And he says, I'll tell you what, man, he said, if Jimmy Cornette was trying to get you in the business, he sure as fuck never mentioned you to me. Kenny, why didn't you come to me? I'd have got you in the business. I said, well, I was dear friends with Jerry Lawler. I was dear friends with Jimmy Cornette. Jimmy was my best friend from age 15 till, now 5 years ago. I said, I didn't think I needed your help, Bill. I said, those were my friends. I figured Jimmy told me he was going to pave the way. He was going to open the door and get me in. If he says anything otherwise, he's a fucking liar. And he told me that in a phone booth, which I've told that story on The Great Debate. And that's why The Great Debate was so good, because a lot of the shit that happened in The Great Debate was a shoot when it come to what Jimmy said he was going to do and what he actually did. But we've always used shoots to be so entertaining on Jimmy's podcast. When I'd called him out for the hot tub shit, when I called him out for being a womanizer, when I said you're more like Donald Trump than Donald Trump is. Well, it made good controversy for the show. But a lot of the shit was true. And now that people have gone back, oh my God, all that shit Bolin said ended up being true. And that's what made the podcast good. And Jimmy didn't care because he didn't think anybody would believe me because it's Jimmy's show. So Jimmy was always the baby face on his show. And they hated me on Cornette's network when I first got there. I would say 60%, maybe 70% of those people never wanted me on that show again. And then after 4 or 5 shows and they got accustomed to what we were doing, now all of a sudden, and then it got to the point I was their most popular guest. I outrated everybody over there except for Stone Cold Steve Austin. And from what I'm told, that still stands to this day. But once they figured out that me and Jimmy were a fucking comedy team and understood what we were doing. And then there's some people still to this day, I can't believe Bolin kicked his fucking mother out, man, so he could move a wrestler. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. How fucking stupid do you have to be? And to think that me and Jimmy really hated each other, but yet he had me on his show about every week or every month or whatever the situation was. He suspended me for about 4 months once because I had Russo on my show and it pissed him off. And when he brought me back on, he said, well, we had to get rid of Bolin for a while. He hangs out with bad people. I said, well, all right. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
But that's the thing. It's funny because it's like, if in life, I think you see this a lot. Like if you have a friend with someone and they have beef with one individual, automatically that friend expects you to have that beef with that person. And
exactly. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I even had to tell him once, and I probably even told him on his own show, if I hated everybody you hated, I wouldn't have a fucking friend in the world. And that's what my son has apologized to me 1,000,000 times. He says, Dad, I feel like I broke up your relationship with Jimmy. I said, no, I said it needed to be broken up if he can't fucking grow up and realize we all don't hate who he hates. and then we don't hate people just because they book wrestling different than we do. There's a lot of shit I see today. I watched AEW Dynamite last night. I watched. I can't remember if I saw the whole. Yeah, I think I saw the whole show, maybe except for the last match. And that opening match with Penta and the Young Bucks, who Jimmy despises, was an entertaining fucking match. Can anybody remember who Penta's tag team partner is? The guy in the white mask. What's his
Phoenix.
name?
It's Ray Phoenix. It's his brother.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Those motherfuckers. I mean, it's not my particular cup of tea for wrestling. I mean, it's kind of almost hard to call that wrestling, but it was some entertaining shit. I mean, there's room for that match on every show. You can have him, and it was one of the more entertaining matches I've seen. Not my particular cup of tea. Not what I consider a classic Jerry Lawler, Terry Funk, or Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee match, or Ric Flair versus Roddy Piper. It wasn't one of those, but it was what it was designed to be. An acrobatic fucking chaos.
Yeah, it's a
that even I was entertained by. I'm sure Jimmy shit all over it just because the Young Bucks were in it. And I was watching this show once. I had weight loss surgery a couple of years ago. And at one point I weighed 589 pounds. Now with all transparency, I weigh 312. Still, like I'd like to get a little bit lower. But I saw the Young Bucks get introduced in a match here a few weeks ago at a combined weight of 387 pounds. I'm going, what the fuck? You mean to tell me I outweighed both these motherfuckers by 200 pounds? What the fuck? And who the hell's going to be scared of two guys that don't weigh 380 combined? Who the fuck, So I get his thing, and I have some fans saying, well, Kenny, wrestling is a work. Well, I'll be goddamn. Thank you for enlightening me on that. And you take it too seriously. Why don't you ever want the little guys to win? I said, because there's a fight out on my fucking street, and I got the big man up here, Piers Austin, and then I got some little fuck, maybe some ex-co-host of my show. Perception says Piers is going to beat the dog fuck out of him. Now, unless the little fuck is Bruce Lee, which he's not going to have too much of a chance. So when I see these little fucks take on these big, like Wardlow, I'm sure y'all familiar with Wardlow. Okay, yep. Now if one of them, pick either Young Buck you want, either 185-pound guy you want to pick, which one of those has got a chance in a real fucking fight with Wardlow? Neither fucking one of them.
Neither.
So yes, yeah, it's a work business, but it's also a business of perception. It's like when you go to the movies, there's a perception. And when this big giant lava monster comes out of a goddamn mountain and there stands Batman and he's in his suit and he ain't got his fucking powers and his boomerang, what is he going to do to the lava monster? The lava monster's got the Batman in his suit shouldn't beat the fucking lava monster. And I'm not sure he should beat him with a goddamn boomerang and the ability to drive the Batmobile into him. I don't think it works that way. So perception enters into this, and people can't comprehend that perception. If it oversees reality, it makes it difficult for some of us to watch because we're just like, what the fuck? That 180-pound guy just beat Wardlow in 85 seconds. What the fuck? And that was a little bit of my problem with Rey Mysterio. Now Rey can sneak up on somebody. He can get in his 502. That's our area code here. What's his area code?
619.
The 619. See, San Diego fans are pissed at me now. But if he gets one of those in on you, okay. But to make him the world champion with a run against, I'm sorry, I don't perceive that. Wrestling is perception. Whether it's real or not, it's just like the movies. If certain shit happens, you go, what the fuck? Even in a movie, and wrestling is a live movie. So,
no, I agree 100% with you. Like we talk about it on this show and then the other shows as well about the idea of the realism, I guess, aspect of wrestling has slowly faded away, and now fans, if you bring up, if you mention something like what you just brought up, it's almost as if it's a dirty topic because wrestling is now a art form, and this is my art. And to an extent,
I used to get criticized on Sportskeeda all the time that I just didn't understand what was going on. I said, no, I do understand. That's the problem. I do understand, and I do realize that and watching that show last night, when I go back to the 70s, and I know shit has changed, but when I was going to live shows in the 70s and 80s, number one, 80% of the fans in the building believed. And that was, Vince McMahon ruined that for everybody. But 80% of the fans believed. There was no, this is awesome. There was no change. NWA. Anytime you're chanting the company name, that means that your characters are not over. If Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee are in this great match, or Terry Funk or Ric Flair or whoever the fuck you want to name, and then all of a sudden, "This is awesome" chant breaks out, or "You deserve it," Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, or Ric Flair would have looked at themselves and said, "Well, we fucked up. We have fucked up," because now they're part of the show. They have now interjected themselves into our entertainment. We have fucked up. There's a rule in somebody got in trouble for this recently. It was Donny Osmond. Donny Osmond got grilled by the directors of some play he's in because some girl in his live performance, and I forgot what he's doing, but because I don't follow plays, but I heard this story. And Donny Osmond got grilled because a fan yelled out, "I love you, Donny Osmond." And then in the act, he broke character. "I love you too." And he went down from the stage, went into the audience and hugged the girl, and everybody popped and everybody loved it. He got back to the back, and the stage director or whoever it is says, "If you ever do that again, do not come back. You do not." And supposedly it was opening a door you're not supposed to open. You're not supposed to make the crowd a part of the show. And he did that. So I get their meaning, but in this day and age, the crowd loved it. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And I'd say, "Fuck you, I'll do it again tomorrow." So do you want me to come back and do this shit tomorrow or not? But I know Donny Osmond doesn't have the clout now that he had in the 60s and 70s, sure. Or maybe even the 80s with Donnie and Marie and all that. But he got grilled and told not to come back. Well, that's kind of what wrestlers have done now. They've kind of let the fans take over the show. And when you start chanting the company name, that was the criticism about ECW, and OVW did it too. They would chant the name of the company during a great match. That shit didn't happen with Bolin Services. They were chanting Porky. They were calling John Cena Altar Boy. They were calling Rico various names. And so if you had heat, it was directed at you. But if they're chanting the company name, and Jimmy agrees with me on this. We actually agree on a lot, just not racism, stupidity, and womanizing. But we agree on this, is that if they're chanting the company name, then that keeps the company over, not the character. That way, if the character goes away, if CM Punk goes away, if Sasha and Naomi go away, if Roman Reigns goes away, the company's over. Have you ever heard them chant WWE, WWE?
Never.
You've never ever heard it. You've heard it with ECW. You've heard it with IWA. You've heard it with OVW. You've heard it with ECW, and of course now AEW. And that is, they want the company over, not necessarily you. Now, not that some of the guys don't get their chant, because that's because they have fucked up and gotten over. Sometimes they don't. You've never heard the WWE chant. I've never heard it, and I doubt anyone ever has. And go ahead.
But do you think, I was just going to say, do you think because like what we read now is like WWE doesn't want to make like another John Cena level of a star because they want people to come?
It sure seems that way, even though I think Roman Reigns has elevated himself from the dead. If you'll remember, Roman Reigns had that thing, and I did coin this phrase, whether anybody wants to give me credit for it or not, X-Pac heat. And that was when they kept talking about all the heat X-Pac had. I said, no, I said X-Pac heat. I said X-Pac has X-Pac heat. It's go the fuck away heat. They're not happy to see him. They don't think that he's doing a great job. There came a point in time that people were sick of seeing X-Pac. And back in the mid 2000s, I coined the phrase I never dreamed it would catch on. And then it caught on so good, no one ever wanted to give me credit for it. Well, whatever. You can't find anybody that said it before I did. So whatever. I wasn't going to make no money off from it. No way. So it doesn't matter. But and Roman Reigns had that heat. Roman Reigns had X-Pac heat before he got leukemia. And then he came back, and guess what, guys? I beat leukemia. All right, well, who's not going to pop for that? Who's not going to pop for the babyface that beat leukemia? Who's the bigger heel, leukemia or Roman Reigns? Fuck you, wish you died, motherfucker. I mean, what fan is going to go there? And trust me, I probably have some trollers that would go there. But no, so they got him back, and then ever since then, he has shown what he can do. And he right now is the only star of that company. Sure, and some of the women are pretty good stars too. I think Becky Lynch is a good star. I thought Sasha was a hell of a star. People criticizing whether or not they had the ability, whether they should have walked out or whatever they did. They're still arguing about whether what MJF did was a shoot or a work. If they let you walk to the ring and they give you a live mic, and supposedly no, guys, it's no. And I know a lot of wrestlers have posted on Twitter that they thought it was a shoot. Shame on you, stupid fucks. And I won't call out any names. But if you went on Twitter and you thought that MJF was a shoot, yeah, he might be unhappy about his contract. And if the things I've heard about his contract are true, yeah, sure, he's unhappy. He didn't do fuck he wasn't told he could do or that they told him to do. When you call the owner of the company a mark and the microphone is still live, when you've gone on and on and on and the microphone is still alive, and then you no-showed an autograph signing the day before, he no-showed it because he was told to fucking no-show it, because that now generates the interest. What was everybody in wrestling talk about? MJF no-showed an autograph session. They didn't give a fuck. They could stick anybody else out there, and now you've got controversy. And I can't, what was it, Bischoff? That said controversy sell. What was it?
Yep, it was Bischoff.
I think it was Bischoff. And nobody, I mean, people were not talking about anything going on in Congress. People were not talking anything about going on with the Senate. People quit talking about Ukraine. People quit talking about school shootings because MJF missed an autograph signing. Let's put it this way. Wrestling fans quit. I was staying up to date on all that shit, but wrestling fans lost their fucking mind. And then when I saw that, I said, is he at the next show? Yeah, okay. Well, then everything's fine. And then when he comes to the ring, this isn't MJF, and then he gives his full name. Bullshit. You know, I hate to be the one to expose anything to everybody, but if they let you go to the ring with a live mic, it is a 100% fucking work. There might be some shoot in there. I watched Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee mix reality in with promos 1,000 times. Guess what? They both were in on what was going to be going on. When Dundee's wife ran out and slapped Lawler, that wasn't she was told to go out and fucking slap Jerry Lawler. She just didn't take it upon herself to run onto the studio set with security not stopping her to slap Jerry Lawler in the face. And then Lawler said, "What's about? Why didn't y'all arrest her?" He goes to the police. "Why didn't y'all arrest her?" Well, because they were told not to. That's why they didn't arrest her. By the way, when Bill Dundee's wife runs out, that's a work. Don't arrest her.
Well, that would have been even more compelling television. That
it would have been if they had jumped her and beat her up. And now, if she'd been a black woman, they'd have got her. You know, they'd have beat her up, tased her, probably shot her.
But you know what's interesting?
That turned political in a hurry, didn't it? Boy, you just brushed right over that, didn't you? Bolin talking about a black woman getting shot on live television.
But you know what? It's interesting about the MJF thing.
What part of New York are you from, anyway?
I'm on Long Island.
Long Island, okay. Well, MJF is an MJF from that area?
I was around MJF when he first started. Actually, a few of the AEW guys that are signed are from Long Island.
Well, it's like when people try to tell me about Cornette. I say, shut the fuck up. I've known him 45 years. I've known him since he's 15. I'm the only person on the planet Earth that knows him as well as I do. Not JR, not any fucking wrestlers, not Vince McMahon, not Roddy Piper, not Ric Flair. I know him better than anybody. Shut the fuck up. So I will defer to you. How much did you work with MJF back then?
I was around MJF a lot as a young kid, and I mean, you could see it right away. He was very smart, very talented. He got.
I've been seeing and hearing about him for a long time, and whether he wanted to be a wrestler or a manager, when you got verbal skills like that, my only criticism now, that promo that he did on TV the other night, I counted at least 4 shits. All right.
Well, yeah.
We appreciate you have the opportunity to say it, but you got to pick your spots. It would be like, fuck you. Well, on a podcast, I don't guess it really matters. But if I'm doing a live interview and they're going to say, okay, Kenny, for tonight, you can say fuck. You say it once. Kenny, tonight you can say shit. You can say it once, maybe twice, not 3, 4, and 5 times, because now it doesn't mean anything. And then not only that, you got to give that to one star to use on that night. Yeah, well, it's great.
To say that.
Yeah, you can't have, because now everybody tries to out shit and goddamn the other one, and it's just a shit and goddamn fest now. Because everyone's got to get. Well, they got to say shit 4 times. I'm going 5, and now it doesn't mean anything. It's like when Ian Rotten used to book these shows. 9 of the 11 matches would have blood. What the fuck mentality is that? If you gotta have blood, now you know what OVW's rules were. We were in Indiana. We could have blood every fucking show if we wanted. You know how often we had blood? We pretty much
Far in
scheduled
between, right?
once every 3 months. Once every 90 days, you're going to get blood. It might be 100 days, it might be 80. But once every 3 months, you'd get blood, and then it would fucking mean something. And it would be one match, not 9 out of 11 on every fucking card. So, do I hate anybody and wish them dead because they booked 9 blood matches? No, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. If you want people to appreciate what you're doing and to believe what you're doing, and that's the part of the art of doing a wrestling show, is for the people to believe what they see is going on. But that's what showed me last night. And boy, I was fun watching Punk try to work up those tears last night. I was watching. I think he wanted to cry more than he did. I remember on one of my podcasts once I was crying over something. I forgot exactly what it was. I said I should be if I could just cry on command, I'd be a televangelist. Because boy, when you're a televangelist and you can cry on command, you can make some fucking money. But no, I just think, and it's the wrestler's fault because they love it. They now love it. Nobody wants to be a real heel anymore, except for maybe MJF. He likes being a heel. But they want that fucking, they want to hear that this is awesome. They want to hear you deserve it. And the promoters love them chanting the company name. Oh, the company's over. I don't know about the rest of you motherfuckers, but the company's over. And, but you never heard it in the Memphis days. You never heard it in the NWA days. WCW. Plus that's a WCW. I mean, that's a hard chant anyway. You know, who wants to do that? So that's my views on that. So go right ahead.
I know I agree 100% with you. I mean, I still, I still travel as much as I can, and I did cut my teeth doing deathmatch wrestling. It's kind of how I did make a little name for myself, and I've moved away from it. But there a lot of these guys that come up, and I've been fortunate to be around a lot of vets and pick their brains. Before I understand, no one talks to any of the veterans that are in the locker room of AEW. I'm talking about like the
we had people ignoring Dusty Rhodes and Arn Anderson when they were agents at OVW. I went up and talked to Dusty one night, and I was talking to him about some old shit that he was doing with Big Boss Man, and I asked him a couple of questions. He's Mr. Bolin. You're not even contracted here, are you? I said, no. I said, I'm Jimmy's best friend. I said, my job is to develop the bad guys. Teach them how to do promos, how to fucking get along in a locker room, do road trips, shit like that. I said, no. I said, they pay me a supplemental fee. I said, but I'm not under contract. No. Do you realize, Mr. Bolin, you the only one? They got all the contracted boys around here. And he was being Dusty that night. We've heard him talk as Virgil as well at Six Flags. Got all these contracted boys around here. Not one person even come up ask Dusty Rhodes, what do you think about anything? But you, Kenny Bolin, not even under contract, come up ask Dusty Rhodes all these questions. I said, well, I've watched you for years with Cornette. But, Dusty, back in the day, you were the babyface and Jimmy was the heel. And guess who I was not allowed to approach, even as a friend of Jimmy's? I couldn't go up and talk to Dusty Rhodes. I couldn't go up and talk to Lex Luger. I couldn't, even though Lex Luger took my son in the ring one night to heckle Jimmy at a TBS studio taping. He saw Chris set with me. We were in there early doing early promos. The fans were not in the building yet. So Luger comes over and grabs my kid. He's about 2 or 3 years old. He grabs Chris and puts him in the ring and tries to get him to yell and heckle Jimmy while he's doing the promos because he knows he can't get mad at Chris because Chris is my son. I'm Jimmy's best friend. So Luger puts Chris up to heckling him. And but other than that, I couldn't interact with the good guys. Not out in a restaurant after the show, not before the show. Because it was forbidden. The heels and the baby faces did not mingle. And now they walk out in the fucking parking lot when the shows are over. Hey, good show. It was like the sheep and the wolves on those old cartoons.
Not even when the show's over. Some of these indie shows that I do, right after, as soon as intermission happens, it's everyone's at their table and it'll literally be the guy that wrestler A wrestled wrestler B, and they're a table apart, and it's. I was with OVW for 17 years, and I wasn't even allowed to sit at a gimmick table until the last 5 when I started doing commentary. And the reason for that was heels don't sell merchandise, and it was forbidden. So finally, when I became announcer, Danny announced to the company that I was neutral. Yeah, he's a heel commentator, but he will also put over the good guys if necessary. But Kenny's neutral, and Kenny can now sell merchandise at the table. So
And thank God he did, because many times we'd do these shows and I might be paid $100 to do the show. And then I'd go to the gimmick table and make, God, I had one night I made 1,500. I had other nights I'd make 900. I would normally calculate the crowd, and I would factor on $3 per head. And if it was a crowd of 100, I knew I was going to make about $300. If we had 300 people, okay, it's going to be about a $900 night. If we had 500 people, okay, I'm going to make about, and it worked out pretty close to that because I sold everything, and DVDs, pictures, whatever the fuck you could think of. If I thought I could put my name on it and sell it, or if it was people I managed that made it to the WWE, I'd get them to sign pictures. And yeah, I went and copied them. Told the fans they were copies. I said, well, yeah, this is John Cena's signature, but it's a replica. Put it in a frame. Your friends will never know the difference. How much are they? They're $5. You want Cena's real? You want an original? I got one back here for $30. You want that one, or you want to fool your friends? I don't give a fuck. I'm going to sell them all anyway. So, and I sold replicas of all the guys that I managed, and they were told right up front it's a replica. And I know a year after Chris Benoit died, I sold some of his autographs too. I gave him a year. And then but him and Eddie Guerrero, I had some autographed pictures of them, and I waited 1 year past their death, and I was getting pretty good money for those too. So you only need one. Only need one of them. So.
That's the thing. But,
and if John Cena dies before me, I'll be selling his originals too. so, sorry, John Cena Sr. Got to make a buck.
But, just to go back a bit and talking about how wrestling is compared to how wrestling was, my view of wrestling is like a wrestling card should always have, a little bit of everything. There's different genres of wrestling. There's different fans of different genres. Some people like the high flying flippy shit, as we talked about. Some people like the chain wrestling. Some people like, see two big men. I tend to say,
by the way, not to interrupt you, but did you all see that opening match on is it Dynamite? Is that what was on last night?
Yeah, I believe I don't know the names of the
Rampage or whatever.
There's so many different names.
If you haven't seen it, go see it. Anybody watching the show, or if you're watching the recorded version in Australia, go see that opening match. I don't know that you're going to see a more entertaining match, and that's, like I said, it's not even my particular cup of tea. I'm going to watch it again with my son because I don't think he saw it. And he loves Penta with a passion, so he's really going to be entertained by this.
But go ahead. I was just going to say, do you think like how wrestling's changed over time? Like, would you say that wrestling's evolved? And like, what are the things that the wrestling has done well in evolving over the years? And then to follow up after that, what are some of the things that wrestling has done not so well over the years during the evolvement?
Boy, you know what? I don't know if I've ever been asked that question just that way. Have they evolved? They have evolved for the fans to let them in on what they're doing. I mean, if you want to consider that evolving. But there was a point in time that eventually you were going to have to come clean. They don't make movies and tell you that all the flight scenes are real. That you'll see highlights of CG and this, that, and the other. So for years, wrestling played on the stupidity and the ignorance of their fans, however you want to phrase it. We had plenty of both. We had fans that were very ignorant, that had no clue to the reality of what was going on. And I'm sorry, back in the old days especially, and I'm sure it exists today, I see some of my trollers that have an IQ of about 8. And you can't expect them to comprehend what is going on. It's unacceptable to think they can comprehend what's going on. They don't have the brain power to do so. And wrestling used to attract a lot of that type of fan. I'm not saying that all wrestling fans were stupid, but many fans don't want to believe. It's like Trump supporters. They want to think he's a good guy. They want to think he's a multi-billionaire. They want to think he's never groped a woman, even though he told you he did, because they have that perception. And if you look, and I don't mean to get so political on you here, but the Republican base thrives and goes after the Bible thumpers. And Neil deGrasse Tyson said it the best I've ever heard. The Republicans could not win honest elections by selling the change that they're going to do for the country. So what they did is they gravitated their show towards a group of people that already believe the unbelievable. Yes, I'm an atheist. Cornette claims to be an atheist. He wasn't always. Claims he is now. But if you if you read the Bible, and I haven't, but I've had a lot of people tell me what's in it and the things that they say and do. My son studied religion for several years in college. He won't refer to himself as an atheist, but he does not believe in God or a person in the sky that needs money. You know, he doesn't look at it that way. But wrestling fans are much like that. Is that they've already been preconceived to believe the unbelievable, much like Trump supporters do. You can't hit them with the truth. You can show them the tape to where he says it's okay to grope a woman's vagina. Well, he was joking. Oh, okay. Well, once you got that defense, what do? And wrestling fans are like that too. And Gorgeous George once said, for true wrestling fans, no explanation is needed. For some wrestling fans, no explanation will do. So what he meant was for real true wrestling fans, no explanation is needed. They know what's going on. They know what we're doing. They just, and I was one of those. I would go to the shows and I would sell Jerry Lawler's punches when he was getting hurt. I'd get up and I'd get mad, but I was working for the crowd to work for Lawler. I wanted them to see that his friend out in the crowd is just as upset as he is that his friend is getting beat up. So I was, did y'all ever see what Damian Sandow would do at the side of the ring when he was working with the Miz? Yep. All right, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that overdone, but that's what Sandow was doing. He was absorbing everything that his friend or his partner was going through. And when Lawler would get, I would sell for Lawler. So the fans would see, well, Jerry's teenage friend, 17, 18, 19 years old, he's really invested in it. The worst thing you can do is take your women to the matches and the women have a magazine and don't give a shit about the match you're in. They have to be invested into it to make the fans believe that what's going on in the ring might be real. And this is back in the era where 70 or 80% of them did believe. But when he said, for true wrestling fans, no answer is needed. For the non-believers, no answer will do. And I'll give you an example of that. I was working at Kroger, and they knew that I knew a lot of the guys in the business. And they said, Kenny, is that wrestling fake? I said, well, I don't know. What do you think? I think all Tojo's matches are real. I said, yeah, okay. Tojo Yamamoto, and he ironically was the first wrestler I ever managed in Birmingham, Alabama. I said, okay, so the Tojo matches are real. Okay, what else you got? And Jimmy Cornette, I swear to God, even though I'm an atheist, this one time I'll swear to God, Jimmy used to think that all world title matches were real. And we were teenagers, 17, 18 years old. And I said, Jimmy, those would be the ones you would have to rig because you have to know who the world champion is going to be when you go from town to town. You can't just advertise that so-and-so's coming and then he's not the fucking champion. You just advertise a world title match that can't. No, Jimmy, those are the ones you have to fucking work. I said, so, Jimmy, all the matches are a work. The title matches are not real. Jimmy never even knew what go home meant when he got in the business. He had to learn what go home meant on his first shows. But I'll confess, I didn't know either. That there's only so much they would let us know, even though we're friends with Lawler and Dundee and Jimmy Valiant and the Dream Machine and all the guys we used to ride up and down the roads with. We give them rides to the arenas. They still wouldn't smarten us up. We talked about other shit, or they talked not smart to you. And if you talk smart to them, they were offended. And I remember Jerry Lawler backstage at Rep Arena once. I just had ear surgery. And I think I was either 18 or 19 years old. And they kept me in the back because they didn't want the crowd noise of Rep Arena to fuck with my ear. So they had me behind the curtain to where the sound was filtered. And Jerry come up to see me to see how I was. And he was a babyface for that show. He'd recently turned babyface. And so he's sitting by me and we're talking baseball, Cleveland, Cincinnati, shit like that. And I said, Jerry, I got to ask you. I said, I've never asked you this before. And thank you for coming out and sitting with me. But got to ask you. I said, what do you prefer better? Do you like wrestling clean or wrestling dirty? He said, man, you know what? I probably like wrestling clean because I hate it when I wrestle when I don't take a shower. And that was the smart. So even though we've been dear friends since I was 14, we've been friends for 5 years. He still wouldn't smarten me up. And if I'd have used the term heel or babyface with him, he'd have lost his fucking mind. Nothing offends a wrestler more. Back then, I don't know about now, probably not so much now. But if you acted like you were smart to the business, and I'll give you another example. Some wrestler, or claimed he was, knocked on the back door at the Louisville Gardens. and he wanted to work for Jerry Jarrett. And Jerry says, well, who are you? Oh, okay. Well, I work down here. So I'm smart to the business. And he says, well, I got news for you, young man. You might be smart to the business, but you're not smart to my business. So I wish you a good day. So he was offended. This guy thought that he was a worker. Well, you might, but you're not working for me. You're not smart to what I do. You're smart to what they do. Be gone with you. And but no, back in the day, you didn't act like, well, hell, I sat next to Jimmy Valiant in the back seat and Troy Graham, the Dream Machine, and various other wrestlers that we would give a ride to Rupp Arena when we do those shows. You didn't fucking talk smart to them. And they knew we knew, but it was forbidden to talk about it. Jerry Lawler knew I knew, but he wouldn't say the word babyface or heel. Oh, clean or dirty? Yeah. I like clean. You know, I hate it when I wrestle and I don't take a shower. And that was as smart as he would give me. And I was fucking 19 or 18 at least. So.
And that's the thing, you even mentioned it before. Like these days, it's like, you know what I mean? It's almost like they promote the fact that everything is a work, right? And it's like whether the commentators or someone like that gives a little wink in between matches, and it's like there's some shows that I watch or even like that I see, and I go like, fuck, let me just suspend that disbelief, like, you know what I mean? Like, come off it. Like,
well, why are you watching if you don't? Why would I go to the Louisville Gardens and sit there like a fucking rock and not be invested in the show? Why do I go to the movies and not want to believe everything I'm seeing on that screen really happened? Why do I not want to believe that the X-Men are going to save the fucking world? You got a UFO hanging out your window? What do you got? Sounds like a spaceship hovering around over there. So
that's fucking some guy's mowing his lawn. So
well, it is 12:52, man. And now when they do that shit at 8 a.m, I get a little pissed. Yeah. Hey, motherfuckers, 8 in the goddamn morning. Put your fucking lawnmower up. I know you're across the street.
So
trying to sleep over here.
I'm a huge fan of Memphis myself. I try finding everything I can tape wise or DVD or YouTube. And I talk to a lot of, I'm 35. I'm not old, but I'm not young compared to
my son's 35.
There we go. But I try showing a lot. Like I'll get a lot of newer wrestlers be like, "Hey, who should I watch?" And I know I'll mention a guy like Jerry Lawler, for example, and they're almost baffled. Like the commentator, like. It's sad.
Well, they don't know. That's all they know is the commentator guy, the puppies guy. They don't know the real heel Jerry Lawler.
People get there, like when I do my, interviews or I get on podcasts. People ask me like, who's one of your favorites? And I say Jerry Lawler, in my opinion, is one. And I hate saying he's underrated because he's not, but because I feel he is because
he didn't get on that worldwide platform in his heyday.
But it's so amazing.
There was a reason for that. Everybody wanted to come to Memphis. Lawler didn't have to go to Houston, San Francisco, Miami, Atlanta, New York. He didn't have to because they all wanted to come there. Nick Bockwinkel came to Lawler. Roddy Piper, I don't think Roddy ever came to Memphis. Lawler was going to go to Atlanta, but Piper got pulled over for having cocaine in his trunk. And that killed that match. Go figure. But no, that was Memphis was called the house that Lawler built for a reason. He sold it out more times than Elvis Presley. And towards the end of Lawler's until the end of Elvis Presley's life, Lawler and Elvis had actually formed a friendship. And a lot of people were saying that Elvis was going to do something with Lawler in Memphis, but it never got to happen. And that would have been pretty cool. The two kings of Memphis. The two kings of Memphis would have been something. But they were friends. They did know each other.
Why do you think like that era, like Memphis doesn't really get, I mean, it gets love from hardcore wrestling fans, but in the general wrestling fans, it's still like because
it had a cartoonish flavor to it. I mean, they had the Dr. Franks and the Mummies and the Spider-Man and it was studio in front of 30 people. Well, I take that back. There might have been 75 people in there. And you had to order your tickets. They were free, but you had to order them, and it was considered a privilege to be in there. But if you ever watched the crowds, a lot of times they were predominantly black, and they were very excited to be in there for free and to get to see those matches. They wanted people that were going to, they didn't want old fucking white people in there that were going to sit on their hands and not react. that there, as I've gone back and watched those tapes, a lot of the audience, not totally, but I would say in many cases, a good 50% of that audience was young, black, energetic folks who would make a lot of noise during the show. Mostly young white people. You didn't see a lot of old white people that were in there that were going to sit on their hands and not make any noise. You only got 70 to 100 people. We need young, energetic people. The Memphis downtown area was predominantly black populated, and you have to cater to that market and those people to get them to come to the shows. Now, Sputnik Monroe, but back in the Nick Goulas area, they used to not even want black folks to come to the show. And Sputnik Monroe would buy tickets for black folks to come to the Memphis shows. And Nick Goulas confronted him about, I think it was Nick Goulas. He was known as a very racist promoter, and I worked for him. And he wasn't particularly friendly to anybody that wasn't very, very white. But he confronted and Sputnik told him, he says, well, their money spends just as good as the white people money. And he says, I bought their tickets anyway. He says, they want to come to my show. And there was an old saying that there were 3 pictures hanging up in most black folks' home in Memphis. And it was a picture of Martin Luther King, Jesus Christ, and Sputnik Monroe. And they said those are the 3 pictures you'd see. So that made me admire Sputnik, because I've been a supporter of Black Lives Matter. I'm promoting the Gay Pride Month. Never been gay a day in my month. I don't know anything what it's like to be that. I've never been black a day in my month, even or in my life. But I've always loved the culture. I've always gotten along good with black folks, even though my biological father was a leader for the KKK in Norfolk, Virginia. So when I talk about racism, I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it very, very firsthand. When I talk about backwoods country hicks who just cannot evolve in their thinking, that's what most of my family was. That's how I was raised. And it's a miracle that I evolved. My brother did not evolve. Many members of my family did not evolve. I probably only, here I was, very famous in this area in a 7-state region. And I got to the point to where I had to fade out most of my family. By the time it was over, I had a good relationship with my mother and 1 sister. And I don't even really speak to any of the rest of them. Why? Racism. Not understanding gays and transgenders. And, but that is the basis of the Republican Party. Badmouth the gays, badmouth the blacks, badmouth the Latinos, unless they happen to agree with you and want to vote the way you do. I don't give a fuck how they vote. But I do think that if you're voting for people that are not going to do anything to help you and suppress you, well, what the fuck are you doing? That is why they've gotten so many Cubans to be able to vote the way of the Republican Party, is because they scream socialism. Everybody's worried about socialism. They don't seem to have a problem with it when they get a social security check. That's part of what socialism is. They don't have any problem with it when those government checks were going to Americans, when they were getting those $1,400 checks that every Republican in the every Republican in the Congress and the Senate rejected. Every one of them. But what did they do? They went home to their constituents and they bragged about the checks we got you. So I don't care much for people that don't want to help people elevate and have a better life. Not all of us have the same opportunity. When you talk about white privilege, I guarantee you I can drive my Cadillac or my Lincoln Town Car with the tinted windows down the street, and 99 out of 100 times, even if I do a small violation, they're not going to pull me over. But you let a black man drive my tinted Lincoln Town Car or my tinted Cadillac down the street, and he runs a stop sign, doesn't give a turn signal, got an air fucking freshener in his car. There's all kinds of tapes of people being pulled over for having faulty turn signals and air fresheners in their car. You ain't found a white guy get pulled over for it yet. So I got my political shit in for the show, but I'm very much against that shit.
No, 100%.
So growing up, and your father being a member of the
if I ever do, I'll let you know, but go ahead.
But when did you start realizing yourself that the way that your family was, the thinking the way that your family was not the way that you wanted to live your life? When did that sort of
apparently very early, because I used to think it was about age 11 is when I bailed out on religion. That's when I refused to start going to church, because I saw church as a babysitter for my parents. I noticed they were never going. And if anything, they were raised Southern Baptist. I was raised Southern Baptist, and I used to go to the churches, and I would hear everybody bad-mouthing. Everybody was gossiping about everybody else in church. Well, this guy's fucking this guy. I mean, I'm 10 or 11 years old. This guy's fucking this girl. She's fucking that guy over there. And there's just all this fucking gossip and hate and everything going on. And I decided I didn't want to be a part of it. And so at about age 10 or 11, I just told my parents, I said, I don't want to be a part of it. I'm not happy there. I don't agree with any of the things they're saying or doing. And it took me a while before I had to tell them that I did not believe in this mythical guy in the sky who's going to solve all your problems and help you find your baseball when you lose it. But by the way, if a tornado tears down a church and kills a few babies, well, that was God's will. And then the other thing that didn't make sense is that there'd be a typhoon hit. Well, that was an act of God. Well, an earthquake destroyed San Francisco. Act of God. Global warming. Well, that's an act of God. Tornado blew over a church and killed some kids. Act of God. Volcano erupted and killed a few people. Act of God. So I tell you what, all these acts of God seem to be fucking a lot of people up. Why don't you? There is, y'all created the devil as well. Why don't you make that shit? That's the devil shit. Why don't we give the devil credit for that? And why don't we let God get credit for the good things, those miracle cures and all this shit? Of course, we have all these prayers and all this shit. And I can't tell you how many times I prayed for dying relatives, and I can tell you how many times it worked out. It was called none. I mean, if they were going to die, they were going to die. And I'm sure that every now and then somebody kicks out. Fuck, they predicted my death 4 times when I was going to hospitals. They sent a pastor to my hospital room. Don't know why. Pastor comes in there and he's sitting with me, and I said, this couldn't possibly be good. I said, why are you here? He said, well, we're just checking in on you. I said, I know when the pastor comes to the hospital room. I said, and they haven't told me anything. I said, is there something I don't know about? And I'm talking to him about like I'm talking to you now. I felt fine. But they apparently told him that I didn't have much longer to live. And I remember one time I went to the hospital, I didn't think I had much longer to live. Only one of the 4 times that they told my relatives I was not coming out of the hospital that I believed them. They never told me. But when the relatives started showing up at the hospital, I'm going, oh shit, they must know something I don't know. Yeah. So one time I went, and I even told my son, I said, man, I don't know if I'm coming out of this one. They said, for you to say that, Dad, that means something. I said, this one ain't feeling good, but it all worked out. But they sent this pastor to my room, and he said, was there any, would you like to confess to any sins, or is there anything you'd like me to say for her? I said, no. I said, be the biggest. I said, I have not believed in God since at least age 11. I said, probably since age 6 or 7. I said, I'd be a big old fucking hypocrite right now if I was to go down that path. I said, we're just going to stick with what I've been doing. And why don't you go visit somebody that needs you worse than I do? No offense. Thank you for stopping by, but I'm not planning on going anywhere. And even if I do, I'm the biggest fucking hypocrite in the world. Well, don't look at it that way. I said, well, that's how I'm looking at it. So, and everything worked out. And since I had weight loss surgery, things have gone much better. Somebody says this dude for president. I don't get that. Well, I'll tell you why I can't. I can't stand at a podium long enough because my knees are too bad. That's why I sit down most of the time. And that's why I like Biden 1,000 times better than I like Trump. They were wanting to blame Biden for the economy. I had to go on Twitter and post a geographical map stating what the inflation rate is because all the Republicans are wanting to blame Joe Biden for it. Okay, that's a great political speech. But all the other countries we're dealing with, a guy from the UK wrote me today. He says, Kenny, what are you paying for gas? I said, well, filled up at Costco about a week ago. It was $4.23. I saved 40 cents a gallon at Costco because I'm a member. He says, you know what I paid today? Nope. $8.26 a gallon. So it's twice. So did Joe Biden fuck up the United Kingdom too? Did he fuck up Brazil that's got a 12.9% inflation rate? America has an 8.4. Japan was 7 point something. Canada was 6.8. So everybody's dealing with inflation. We were a couple of points higher than Japan and Canada. Everyone else in the fucking world's higher than us, with Brazil macking out at 12.9% inflation. So I posted all this on Twitter, and the map's on there. If you follow me on Twitter, it'll be pretty easy to find. Fuck you, Joe Biden. What did you do to the rest of the world? What have you done, Mr. Biden, that has jacked everybody's shit to the moon, even worse than you've done here in America? I paid $4.23 for gas. My friend in the UK paid $8.26. I got friends in the Philippines paying $6.50 to 7. California, 650 to 7, depending where you are. Other countries got it a lot fucking worse than we got it. You can't blame Joe Biden for the world's problems, but they want to blame him for America. And if you want to trace it back, Donald Trump ignored COVID for fucking ever. Had he jumped on COVID the way that South Korea did, the way that north of you, not Australia, New Zealand, yeah, it was strict, man. And yeah, there's only a few people that had COVID. Well, guess what? They never had the fucking problems the rest of us had. Australia was very strict for quite some time.
Oh yeah, we had.
I know a lot of you didn't like it, and conservatives didn't like it more than some. If we had jumped on it the way that a few other countries did, a lot of lives would have been saved. We've now, in America alone, we've lost over 1 million people died. Do you realize how many people died that we don't even know if they had COVID or not? They just died at home. Nobody fucking knows. And of course, now the Republicans want to say, well, everybody, if guy had a common cold, man, they said he died of COVID. No, they fucking had COVID. That's what gets put on the goddamn medical report. Doctors were being paid $35,000 bonuses to say you died of COVID. I said, well, why the fuck would you do that? Give me the logic. Well, if you say he died of COVID, we'll give you 35 grand. Well, wouldn't the government want you to say he didn't die of COVID so they don't have to pay out the $35,000 bonus to the doctor? Some of the shit you hear is just unfucking real.
But the thing is that, like, here in Australia, up until December last year, I knew no one, never heard of a friend or a whatever who had COVID up until December.
Because you guys jumped on the shit quick. I, on the other hand, who was raised by 4 families, have had 15 fucking people die of COVID. Every fucking one of them unvaccinated. I don't know how serious you guys were about the vaccination. I was very serious about it. I just got my 4th shot a couple days ago. I've got all 4 of my shots. Nobody I know that got vaccinated fucking died. Nobody I know got vaccinated and went to the hospital. Not one. But every one of my fucking family members that were Trump supporters, even though he has been vaccinated and boosted, and his whole fucking family, he originally denied it. He originally wouldn't admit that he had it done. He didn't admit it until practically after it was after he was voted out of office. Once he was voted out, he finally admitted it. But too late for most of my family members, because these backwoods country ass fucks who just cannot comprehend common sense wouldn't get vaccinated. Most of these people were in their 30s to their early 50s dead because they wouldn't fucking get vaccinated. So great for you, but your country must have acted like it had some common sense. You were a lot stricter about what you could and could not do. And you probably didn't have anywhere near the death rate that we had. But I witnessed 15 family members. And as Jerry Lawler once said, I don't feel sorry for stupid people. Because if you're too fucking stupid to look around you and see that everybody that's fucking dying, and the statistics show it, 99 point some odd % of the people that went back to the hospital that died were unvaccinated. The number one killer of cops in America, it ain't black folks shooting at them. It ain't crime. It ain't car wrecks. It's COVID. And I got a friend who's a cop that wrote me, who used to work for the WWE, writes me and says, Kenny, I'm not convinced the vaccination works. How do you battle that stupidity? You can't. When 99% of the people, and every doctor, CDC, everybody in the medical profession that you can ask, you'll get a quack that tells you that for some motivational reason that they're getting paid money from somebody to say otherwise. But when 99% of the medical profession tells you, I'm mainly putting toe tags on people that aren't vaccinated, how do you fucking ignore that? But they do, because that's what cults do. That's why QAnon is very popular among stupid people. That's the shit they fucking believe.
And it's interesting that you say that, because
I bet you a lot of them are wrestling fans too.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is, like, the last lot of lockdowns that we had here, we had people like going through in the main streets of Sydney, having these massive protests, thousands of people like fucking throwing ink bombs and shit at fucking police, all this bullshit, and all these anti-vaxxers and all these motherfuckers that are like this.
Yeah.
Every single person that they fucking interviewed on news looked like they were a little bit off kilter. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't look like full quid. And the thing is, to me, it's like, these lockdowns and stuff that we went through, it fucking frustrated so many people.
It is. My pay got cut in half. I mean, I book hotels across the country, but a lot of hotels weren't open to do bride and groom shows, and my pay got cut in half. But I work from home, but I understand why.
Kenny, I had a baby. Me and my wife had a baby last year. He was born 2 weeks later for 5 months.
Hang on. Let me shut down an idiot that I see in your bedroom. Natural immunity, you stupid motherfucker. Natural immunity is what killed over 1 million people in this country so far. The ones that are dying are the ones that were non-vaccinated. If you got, what is natural immunity about getting vaccinated? You're being a stupid fuck. Yeah, I guess if you want to lose 1 million, 2 million, 5 million people, like some countries have had done, yeah, I guess eventually your natural immunity will work out. Or you could just get vaccinated and not die. Every single person in my family, and I come from 4 large motherfucking families that raised me, not one motherfucking person that got back, and I got no reason to fucking lie about it. I mean, facts are facts. I don't give a shit. The day I find out the vaccination, 15 of my family members die, guess who ain't fucking getting vaccinated? It'll be me. God damn, something wrong with that goddamn vaccination. But when the numbers add up otherwise, and you're just being a stupid fuck to come in here and say such a thing because it's a political talking point that you heard some other dumb fuck say, and it sounded good to you because your selfish fucking ass probably didn't want to get vaccinated. The other reason I got vaccinated is because there's lots of people out here that are immune deficient. My friend Conan, he suffered from cancer. He's got a lot of shit going on. I don't know if he's even eligible for the vaccination. So even if I have a problem with the vaccination, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to infect Conan. I don't want to go to Costco and infect people that can't get the shot. Now, if you can't get the shot, please God, wear a fucking mask. Don't be out spreading it easily to other people. But no, it's a selfish fucking thing to do. I got one sitting right here because when I get ready to go out to go shopping today, there you go. King B, by the way. I got my fucking mask ready to go. I got a fucking glove box full of them. And the reason I wear it, I'm quadruple vax. The chances are pretty fucking good. Nothing bad's going to happen to me. Plus, I've been exposed to some people that have COVID, quite a fucking few. I had a former co-host of mine come in here. Motherfucker had COVID, didn't know it. I might have some type of natural immunity. I don't know. But that doesn't mean that I can't spread it to others.
100%.
Yeah, and if you're what's the phrase I'm looking for? God damn it. There's a phrase to where non-symptomatic. I could have COVID. I might have had it. I don't know. If I was non-symptomatic. Asymptomatic is the word, excuse me. So if I go out here and the neighbor over here's got cancer, can't get the vaccination, and my selfish fucking ass goes over there. I'm asymptomatic, don't even know I give it to her and kill her. Well, I think I'm going to feel like fucking shit, or at least most people would. So what is the big motherfucking deal? And I'm quadravaxed. I just came up with a new word. What is the big fucking deal that I put this on while I'm shopping at because I'm probably safe. I don't think you can give it to me. And if it does, I'm quadravaxed. I'm going to live. 99.999% chance I'm going to live. But why would I want to jeopardize somebody else? I'm not a selfish fuck. That's why. So that's why I wear my mask. That's why I went 3 days ago and got my 4th shot, even though 3 for me, probably fine. I'll probably be fine. But I actually care about other people and the people, the percentage of people who cannot get the vaccination. So I know this is a little off kilter what this show probably normally talks about. But fuck you and your natural immunity, because natural immunity fucking kills a lot of fucking people before natural immunity kicks in. And because of that stupid fucking piece of shit orange president that we had, who actually lost 2 popular votes, by the way. That's why we got to get rid of the Electoral College, because of that stupid fuck ignoring it and wanting us in April of the first year COVID was around to flood the churches. COVID is gone. The warm weather is going to kill it. Well, that was a stupid fucking statement. Tom Hanks got the fucking disease. If it wasn't in New Zealand, it was in Australia. I think it was New Zealand. It was 100 fucking degrees, and him and his wife got COVID down there. So no, warm temperatures did not kill COVID. I'm killing your ratings because I'm talking about COVID.
No, not at all. But you know what? It's funny. Like, I had friends that didn't want to
get. So fuck your natural immunity if I didn't make that clear the first time, you stupid fuck. All right.
But the thing is, I had friends that were.
He won't be a fan of my show anymore, will he?
That's all right. But like, I had friends going, I don't want to get the shot because I don't know what's in it. I don't want to put. what I don't know.
Well, I know what's in it if I don't. I know what's in it if I don't.
The funny thing was, right, I'm 40 and my friends are around the same age. I'm like, motherfucker, I remember in our 20s when you were snorting lines of coke off a fucking toilet.
They don't give a shit.
Nightclub.
They never
you
gave
didn't
a
know
shit.
what the fuck was in it then, bro. Come off it.
Ask your stupid I wish you would name drop your stupid fucking friend that said this to you, because ask him if he's had a hot dog recently. Ask him if he's had a slice of bologna. Ask him if he's gone to any particular restaurant in general and what he ate. He don't know what the fuck's in that either, but he fucking ate it anyway. And all the other vaccinated, I know in America here, you had to have like 9 vaccinations before you could fucking get in school. Nobody ever bitched about any of those. But because Lord Donald Trump didn't promote the COVID vaccine, we ain't taking it. You cult worshiping piece of shit motherfuckers to be that fucking stupid. And we would probably have about, if I had to guess, 800,000 or 900,000 of us that would still be alive today if they hadn't been stupid fucks. Or of course, some of those were immunocompromised and weren't eligible to get the shot. So let's not talk bad about them. Just the stupid fucks that had an option and elected not to. 15 of them in my family. Every fucking one of them had an option to get vaccinated because they thought Lord Donald Trump didn't get one. I ain't getting one either. Backwoods stupid fucks. Well, so you got what you fucking asked for. Sometimes, and I didn't feel sorry for a fucking one of them, and I didn't go to a fucking funeral. Because if you're that fucking stupid and you want to die that bad in honor of your fucking piece of shit president, drop dead, motherfucker, if that's what you want. And you probably killed some of your friends and relatives too because you were too fucking stupid. That's exactly what you did. You killed some of your fucking friends and relatives because you were all too fucking stupid to get vaccinated. Fuck you.
And that's what they did.
I'm waking up now, guys. I'm waking up.
You're with us now. But you know what they did here in Australia was when they had like the lockdowns happening, they would say when we get to like 80% of the population vaccinated in this state, for example.
Do me a favor, block his stupid fuck down here at the bottom. He's got SWAT in his name. He's just a stupid fuck. Just block that fucking idiot. I don't even give a fuck if he's from Australia. You can unblock him after the show's over. He's a stupid fuck to get rid of.
The thing is, like,
I've only used executive privilege once today, and I actually haven't looked at a lot. Jim Case is a big fan of the show. We see him all the time. CG Ruthless, I think I'm doing their show here very soon. So we got some good people in here, but we've also had a couple of stupid fucks too. So
yeah, well, because like the thing is, like a lot of the
you're here watching me, motherfucker. I'm not watching you, so shut the fuck up. You don't like what I'm saying? Go watch fucking something else. Fuck. All right, well, we got that out. I promise you, CG, if you got stupid people on your show, I'll get those motherfuckers too. June 27th, I'll be there with an attitude.
But you know, it's funny. Like they put this limitation on here in Australia. It's like once they got a lot of the population vaccinated. Now Australia, I think it's 70% of the population in the country are vaccinated.
Yeah. We've got about 80% now, maybe a little higher than that, 82% that are vaccinated, got 1 or 2 shots, and a lot of them. You lean out that window and tell that motherfucker shut that lawnmower down like Kenny Bolin's on. Hey, motherfucker, Bolin's on ranting about COVID. Need you to shut it down. That might or might not work. What was I getting ready to talk about?
The COVID vaccination population and the
yeah. So we've got, but many of those people had to. We had police officers quit the business because they were going to be made to get vaccinated. Fox had this guy, this cop that was on, I forgot what state, I think he was a New York cop. And they had this guy on all their shows telling you that COVID's a crock of shit. It's all bullshit. And even some of the Fox News people say, you do realize COVID is killing your department more than any other thing that y'all are dealing with. No, that's bullshit. They're just making that stuff. Yeah, okay. The CDC now just wants to alienate every cop. That's what they're doing. So he refused to get vaccinated, and he became a Fox contributor. Well, guess what happened to that stupid fuck? He got COVID and died. He was like 38, 39 years old. The stupid fuck got COVID and died. And what did Fox do? They acted like it never happened. It took them like 2 weeks to admit this motherfucker died. They found another anti-vaccine cop to come on and take his place. They didn't mention that the other one died of COVID. It took like 3 weeks before they acknowledged it. It was just washed under the rug. And well, unfortunately, this happened. He may have had other complications and all this shit. So no, Fox is, and then I hear people talking about how Fox is the #1 rated news network. No, they're not. You stupid fucks. Do the math. There's one station that tells stupid people what they want to hear, and all the stupid people gravitate to that one station. Good old Fox News. There's a couple of other subsidiaries that don't get any fucking views or anything, but if there's one station telling you what you want to hear, that's where everybody goes. Now, if you want to get to the left. Well, where does the left go to get their news? If CNN was the only option, CNN and or MSNBC would be the #1 fucking news network on the planet with 70% of the fucking viewership. But they're not. You can go to CNN, you can go to MSNBC, you can go to NBC, CBS, ABC, BBC, PBS. There's all kinds of fucking other news sources out there other than Fox News. So all the stupid fucks go to, so it makes them look like they're the #1 news organization because they get the highest ratings. That's where all the stupid fucks go. Now I go there too. Well, Kenny just admitted he's a stupid fuck. No, I want to see what the stupid fucks are saying. And I'll even watch a little bit of Hannity to see what that fucking idiot is saying, even though he used to be a Democrat. I also watch Laura Ingraham, who used to work here in Louisville, used to be a Democrat. And I also see what Sean Hannity says, because he is as batshit wacko crazy as you're ever going to fucking get, and the biggest goddamn racist I've ever known in my life. My father was leader of the KKK, and Tucker Carlson could have took his place. Tucker Carlson, you need to step down, Ray. Step down. Tucker's here. God damn, has he got a 4-acre lot he's mowing over there?
Dude, I think it's the landscapers, man.
Is he mowing a football field and the end zones?
He might be.
He might be.
I live on a lot of property out here.
But you know what I wanted to.
Chris Christie got COVID, damn near died. Donald Trump got COVID, damn near died. People have admitted that since then. that Trump, if he hadn't had all those experimental drugs that me, you, and some of these other dumb fucks around here don't have access to, would have killed him. And that motherfucker barely fucking lived. So that's why he went on some of those little tours with that other rapist piece of shit that he worked at Fox. Who's the Fox? The O'Reilly Factor, that guy. So, Mr. President, I've been boosted. Have you been boosted? Yeah, I've been boosted. And then they got booed because they admitted they had been boosted. Well, he got boosted because he damn near fucking died, you fucking idiots. Not you good people, just the fucking idiots.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all know how to get me riled up, don't you?
We did.
All right.
You know,
I do need to go do some shopping with my son. I promised I'd wrap up at 1, so we're going to go ahead and go to 1:30 if that's. We'll do 7 more, and we'll do a part 2 if you want. I've enjoyed doing your show.
Absolutely, definitely want to do a part 2. But you know, what I wanted to touch on as well was like your time in OVW. You know, you got to work with some pretty amazing.
Well, that's a topic turner, isn't it?
It definitely
back to OVW, Mr. Bolin, after 40 minutes of ranting about COVID.
But you know, your time in OVW.
Where's that guy that wants me to be president? Well, let's find that name and go back up here. He was on Facebook. There's one guy in here wants me to be president. I know Cocktail and Jim Keys want me to be president. 3 years, I'll be too old. I'm trying to make it a 65 maximum age limit because old white fucks running this country needs to come to a goddamn end. If you got to have a white fuck run the country, get somebody under fucking 60. Shouldn't be that goddamn hard.
Good point.
Absolutely. You know,
let the old fucks be consultants. I'll be a consultant.
Yeah, so with your time in OVW, you did get to sort of work with a lot of, you know, guys down there.
Got to work with everybody, man. It was really an amazing place to be because you get to work. I did ban The Undertaker from my show because I found out he donated $75,000 to a person he thinks is a billionaire. He donated $75,000 to Trump, so he's banned. I'm not going to let him on the show. Like he would ever come. You know, if he's seen any of my tweets, he will not be coming. As a matter of fact, me and Undertaker had a feud because on Cameo, I was charging $999.99 per Cameo appearance. I was the highest paid person, assuming anybody was going to pay it. I was higher than Ric Flair. I was higher than the Undertaker and everybody. Well, $999.99 is as high as it would let me go. But Taker had enough clout on Cameo that he raised his to $1,000. He beat me by a penny. So me and Taker have already had a Cameo war. And I know he had to know because why else would he raise his price to $1,000 when previously he'd been like $250 or something. So he jacked it up to $1,000 to beat me by a penny. Kenny says 7. You shut up, Zach Bonifer. You don't know me that well. All right. 25 more minutes.
But with the time down there, like, what was like? Did you see like much of ego from some of these guys that were signed? They're down at OVW. They're going, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm like 6 months. Like, fuck you."
We were pretty good at keeping that in check. But you get a little bit of ego maybe out of Brock, a little bit of ego, maybe a little bit out of Randy. But Randy didn't like wrestling. Randy was recorded once saying that he was only there for the $750 a week, but now he's wrestled more matches on Raw than anybody. And he admits that his attitude has dramatically changed. You got to remember, he was fresh out of being AWOL from the military. Well, I don't blame him there. If I was in the military and looked around for a few weeks and people listening to my shit, I probably wouldn't mix in well with the military either. I've been looking for a way to get the fuck out of there. But Randy and he follows me on Twitter, and I follow him, and I'm very proud of what he's accomplished. He's come a long way. He'll be the first to tell you that his attitude when he first got in was not at its best, but he's come a long way, and he's done some things I don't approve of him doing, and I'm sure he knows what those things are, and let's just hope he doesn't do those anymore. And I think he's becoming a better person. Probably having a kid will make you do that.
I think he's like immature as well.
I tell you, some people that came down that were real cool. Eddie Guerrero was very cool when he came down. I hear that he could lose his temper and be a dick if you pressed him on it, but he was good to me and good to everybody that I saw him interact with. Chris Benoit was gold when he was down here. Never had a problem out of Chris Benoit. Jericho was always great. Whenever we interacted with him, he had a great match with Nick Dinsmore at the Louisville Gardens. I don't really recall. The only ones that were a real dick was Sparkplug Holly, whatever the fuck he was. Yeah, oh God, just a massive dick. We couldn't wait to get rid of him. And there's not too many people I hate in wrestling. Whenever he goes, now Steve Austin likes him, and I like Steve Austin. I've done his show a couple times. I got no fucking use for Bob Holly. Wow. He hurt Rico Constantino. He hurt Lance Cade. Lance Cade told me that he is the reason that he got hooked on drugs is because of how bad Holly hurt him, because Holly always had to make an example out of somebody. He had to let everybody know he was a locker room general, even though he wasn't. And he was just a shitbag when he was.
And the Capitelli thing on Tough Enough, right? That was with him.
My God. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, he fucked over Capitelli. I mean, he's got a long running history. And if that's how little your dick is, that you have to take advantage of people that can't do anything back to you. And he tried that shit on me. He tried to make me give him $700 that he thought I made on an autograph signing that drew about 30 people. We advertised him at some bingo hall or something, some church out in the south end of Louisville, and it drew like 30 people. No one gave a fuck to see him. That's why he was here. They didn't have anything for him to do in the WWE. And Cornette had to light him up because in front of the boys, he was trying to punk me out to get $700. I said, you might be able to whip my ass. And I said, you probably can. I said, but you ain't going to get $700 out of the process. And I ain't giving you shit because we didn't make any fucking money. We do these things for free because they're either having us to their venue or they're a sponsor on the show. We do not get paid for these. Now, we do have paid public appearances for stars like Steve Austin, like Mark Henry when he comes back, Big Show when he comes back, Kane when he comes down, another fucking Republican. But me and Kane aren't getting along too good these days. But, well, politics will divide, won't it?
How did you find John Cena?
Me and John got along good, but John wasn't John, and I think he'll admit to this. And if you watch the Peacemaker, I think you'll see his fascination with it. John liked porn back then, and he told everybody. He would tell me, "I don't want to go out and eat with you guys. I got AOL and dial-up internet. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go home and watch porn." Well, all right, John. If you like that better than free food, that's your option. And every now and then he'd come over and hang out with us. And on his cheat day, he'd eat like a motherfucker. But he didn't hide the fact that he enjoyed porn. So I don't think I'm telling anything out of turn. I've told the story many times, and I just had his dad. I wasn't going to tell his dad that he liked porn better than food, but so I didn't bring it up on that particular show. But no, I got along fine with John. We follow each other on Twitter. I don't know that he'll ever do my show, but What do you do? But I've had JBL on, and JBL was a class act. I would think JBL is probably Republican. I don't know. Me and Lawler get along good, but politically, we are just polar opposites at the other end. And I don't think he'll do my show because, much like this, if we go political, people know exactly how I feel. And me and Lawler would argue about that. And I think I would beat him in the argument because all I got to do is just say, well, I'm not a racist and I don't grope women's pussies unless they tell me to. So, that's who I am. Who are you? I normally set those arguments down pretty quick.
It's really interesting, like when I speak to people in America, like because a lot of people I speak to in the States.
By the way, I got along fine with John Laurinaitis. I just saw that question pop up. I got along fine with him. Jimmy hated him, and Jimmy hated that he recruited a lot of women out of magazines. And if they look pretty and you think people on TV want to look at them, appearance is kind of the first thing they judge them by. And can you teach them to work? And we had a few that came in, like Kelly. Oh Jesus, let me see. It's just telemarketing. Goodbye, I'm busy. All right. So,
but it's interesting though. Like you like when I speak.
No,
to
I got along fine with Laurinaitis to answer that question.
But
if you hear Cornette tell the story, he was the worst motherfucking human being that ever lived. But I got along with him just fine.
It's funny, like with a lot of Americans I speak to, they're always big in politics, but here in Australia, like we are like the most unpolitical nation that you'll really find. Like surely there's going to be like the small groups of hardcores, but like a lot of the people around like probably from about say 50 and below, like don't give a shit about fucking politics. Very few.
Yeah, well, you're right, and a lot of people that watch my show get their political information from me, and those that have been preconditioned to be Republicans don't want to hear what the fuck I got to say because their parents have raised them a certain way and to believe a certain way, and they're not going to change. My parents tried to do that shit to me, and I was, no, mama, no, that's all right. Now, my mother was a Democrat. My father, both my stepdad and my biological dad were, well, let's face it, pretty much, even though they bragged about having a black friend or a lesbian friend, well, I hire lesbians because they're hard workers and they don't steal from you. Oh, well, good for you, Pop. Well, I'm not a racist because the guy at work I shared a Coca-Cola with. Well, did you drink out of his bottle? No, but I bought him one. Well, aren't you a good guy?
Here's a bottle of Coke.
Yeah, here's a bottle of Coke. Thank you, Ray. You're a fine, outstanding black man. Appreciate your service.
But ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the show. Time for Guess the Australian Slang. How this is going to work, I'm going to give
a
slang word.
I've been on a roll. Now I'm going to fuck the whole thing up.
I'm going to give you an Australian slang word, an Australian slang phrase. I'll put the word in a sentence.
Kangaroo, a giant mouse.
Oh, it's not going to be that easy. But ones you get right, we'll give you a round of applause.
Okay, all right.
And the ones you get wrong.
Enough. How many am I going to get? How many shots?
We'll give you a few. We'll give you a few.
All right, go ahead. Well, let's see how I do. I'm not expecting to do well, but let's give it a try.
Okay, so first one is drongo. Now I'll put it in a sentence. Yeah.
Okay, put it in a sentence. That'll help me.
This bloke over here is a fucking drongo.
He's an alcoholic.
No, so a drongo is like a fool, a bit of a dumbass.
I thought he was a drunko. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'll make sure to pronounce it a little
bit better. Drunko. He's a fucking drunko, mate.
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah. Okay. So I was right. You all are wrong. I was right. You all are wrong.
So we'll give it. But next one is fair dinkum.
What's that?
Are you fair dinkum? Are you being fair dinkum right now?
Repeat that.
Are you being fair dinkum right now? Fair dinkum.
Probably not. I have no fucking clue what fair dinkum is. I can't even come up with anything funny.
Fair dinkum, like if you say something, are you being fair dinkum? It means are you being straight up with me right now? Okay, so
I said probably not. So at least I was honest about that. No, I know Teddy Long a little bit. Met him a few times, but I never got to work with him. But I hear Teddy is a very good guy. and JBL tells some great stories about Teddy Long on my show.
All right, so here's the next one for you, mate.
I thought Bill Clinton was a good president, and he was getting some good nookie on the side, apparently, in the White House. So all I know is that when Bill Clinton left office, we had a massive surplus, and I think that's the last time that happened. And when Bill Clinton left office, gas was like $1.88 a gallon. So go ahead.
That's it. All right, so we'll go to the next one.
Man got a blowjob, and everybody got hot about it. If Hillary's is cool with him getting a blowjob, it's fine with me.
100%. That dick sucked. So next one is
I do like Outback Steakhouse. I haven't been there in a while, but I do like it. Maybe for me being a guest on these shows, these two assholes are going to send me a gift card to go to Outback for like $75 or something. That'll feed me.
So next one is Budgie Smuggler. Oh,
what's
shit.
that?
Budgie Smuggler. Hey boys,
Buggy Smuggler?
Budgie.
Budgie Smuggler. God
Budgie
damn.
Smuggler. Hey boys.
Man.
Oh shit. My dad came over to my house and he's out near the pool and he's wearing his fucking Budgie Smuggler.
A Speedo.
That's exactly what
it is.
Hey, we got one.
Yeah, the sentence helped me. The sentence helped me. Yeah, you shouldn't be wearing that. No,
well,
not at all.
The reason they call it a budgie smuggler is because when you get out of the pool and it's wet, it looks like you're smuggling. Anyway, never mind.
Yeah. Well, that's enough of an image I do not need. So
next is piss. Hey fellas, you want to come over to my house and drink some piss?
Spell that word.
Piss. Piss.
All right. So repeat the sentence again.
You want to come over to my house and we'll drink some piss?
Well, I tell you what, the first time I ever drank a warm beer, I don't know what piss tastes like, but I assumed that was it. So come over and drink some warm beer. Oh.
Well, kind of half. It does mean to come over and drink some beer. Come on and get on the drink. Like
no, I got that right. I just guessed the fucking temperature of the beer.
Yeah, he got that right.
Whoever drank cold piss, if you did, you pissed in the bottle and you refrigerated it, and that really makes you a fucking weirdo. You can't I want applause. You cannot penalize me because I declared the temperature of the beer. No, I want applause on that one.
All right, I'll give you that one. Next one. This is going to be one.
No, you play my fucking applause. That's bullshit. Play my goddamn applause. There you go. Now I'm happy.
Right. So next one.
Me drink beer. You said warm beer. Wah. Fuck you.
All right. So the next one I got for you is root rat. ROOOTRAT. Root rat.
I gotta give you that one in a sentence. Jimmy Cornette married a rude rat.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
That deserves an applause regardless.
Yeah, let's go to the root rat. Okay. So I'll put in
We're gonna fuck me a rude rat tonight. Oh, there you go.
All right, so I'll put in a sentence. Charles, our producer, is a dead set root rat.
Charles, the producer, is a dead set root rat.
Yeah.
Asshole. Well, that's
so a root rat is someone who enjoys sex a little bit too much. So
okay. Well, I was close with the first one. Then I was close with
it. I'll give you a round of applause for that one.
Yeah, I was close with that.
Okay, so next one.
What was it Cornette said when he got called out on all the hot tub shit? He says, so I'm guilty of having an interesting sex life. I said, no, you're not. Your wife is guilty of having an interesting sex life. You're guilty of watching your wife have an interesting sex life. It's what you're fucking guilty of.
That's some pretty fucked up shit.
Okay. Yeah. Some people like that shit. I never want to watch anybody fuck my wife, but hey, that's just me.
Okay, so this is the last one.
I think we can go unanimous in the room on that, can't we? I think we can
100%. 100%.
Yeah, never wanted to watch anybody fuck my wife. So yeah, we're 100%. 100% of this podcast doesn't want to watch anybody fuck their wife. So we're good on that.
That's it. Okay, so this.
What about you, Zach Bonifer? You probably one of them weirdos that enjoy that. Zach Bonifer, Mr. Cocktail. His name's Mr. Cocktail. Seems like. Yeah. Pretending would be a good description there, Cocktail.
So this is the last one, and this is going to be a multiple. There's going to be multiple in this one. Okay, right. So on the subject of root rat. So
Zach Bonifer's right. I went way over 7 minutes.
Well, this will be the last one. Then we'll start wrapping up. Okay, so
All
this
right.
is multiple choice. Okay, so
All right.
I come up to you in a bar and I go, "Hey, Jimmy, listen, bud. Have you got a spare franger for me, old fella? I picked up this Sheila and she's keen for a root.
You need a condom.
100%. I need a condom for my old fella. Which is
Yeah, I heard the sentence there, and I knew what it was.
There we go.
Yeah,
but that is guess the Aussie slang. You did pretty well.
I'm shocked I got any of them. So I'm happy that I got 2 or 3 of them there. I got beer too. Don't you forget I got beer. I got that one.
I'll give you another pop for the beer.
There we go.
All right.
There you go, another pop for the beer. But Kenny, tell everyone where they can find you on social media, where they can buy some of your merch, where they can catch your show, the Bolin Alley.
I have merchandise links on Twitter and Facebook. If you look over into the bio areas, you will see the link to Teesprings. We got way too many fucking shirts and shit in there. We need to weed some of that shit out. We'll do it one day. Just go through there, find something you like, and order it. Eventually, I get paid. If you want to find me on social media, it is at StarMaker Bolin. If you want to find me on Facebook, it is /StarMaker Bolin. If you want to find me on Instagram, it is StarMaker Bolin. Do you see a pattern here? It's getting pretty fucking easy to find me. If you want to donate to my charity for helping feed the Filipinos, you can go to... We didn't see any of my trollers tonight to tell you how big a scam I'm running over here. foodforfilipinos@gmail.com. You can also donate to Kenny Bolin at msn.com. You can donate to Cash App at $StarMaker Bolin. And you can donate on Venmo at Kenny-Bolin-1, which although they'll scroll on my own show, which I don't know if we'll do any more this weekend or not. My live shows are always on Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 9:05 on The Bolin Alley. Just to go to youtube.com/The Bolin, Bolin, for you stupid fucks that can't spell, The Bolin Alley. A lot of people want to put a W. They want to put a Boling, Bowling. No, it's like I spell my fucking name. youtube.com/The Bolin Alley. If you enjoy what you saw here today, come on over and see the American version.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in live. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in afterwards on any of the podcast platforms. Wherever you are finding us, please give us a like, share, subscribe, hit the bell to stay notified. If you're getting us on a podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. Huge shout out to our sponsors, healthvape.com and sleeps.com. Use those promo codes MWAPod to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Kenny, thank you so much for your time. An hour and 30 minutes has just flown by. I absolutely want to do a part 2.
Well, my goal is to stomp Russo's views on this show, to show him who the real king of podcasting is. So that's once we beat him, probably tomorrow. Well, so the recorded version's available immediately, right?
It is. It's available.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure to tweet this out, Facebook it out, Instagram it out, all that good stuff. And my fans wake up about 9 o'clock tonight, so we got a few of them that were awake in there earlier that were shocked to see me at noon. A lot of people didn't realize my windows had daylight. They didn't think that was a thing. So we'll get the word out. And my I don't know how many views Russo got, but my goal is to beat Russo.
He's
world famous though. He might be hard to beat. I'm just a local boy here.
Come on now. But look, we'll definitely make sure to try and get you back on. We'll have this up and available on all the podcast platforms in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2. Just holler at me when you want to do it. But I'll see if I can even give you a more reasonable time for your Aussie fan base.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you again very soon. Take care. All the best. Peace.